Nice. You and Maria take us through a journey really nice. He gives a shout out to Beyonce. Wonderful people.
Sorbonne Babskat.
Mr. Sakaza,
Morning, Chair. Morning, Chair.
morning. Uminister uthi ungena nge-iPad ye-spokesperson sakhe because ukule nto yasenantsikeni. So please ndicela nimfake because uthi kudala izama ungena.
Thank you, Chair. I look for that. They send if many messages. I'm Jonga, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Umanijile ungena?
Not yet, Chair. Akakabikho na kwi-waiting room. Kaloku funeka aqale bekwi-waiting room andimboni.
Okay. Good morning, honorable members and
Good morning.
and the members from the staff from two entities, and obviously the DEL.
Recording in progress.
The minister was still struggling to log in, but whilst we'll then be waiting for him if he is managing. If he manages, we'll see. We'll then allow Mr. Sakaza to take us through the roll call. I always say I don't want to waste time because we are competing with load shedding. Otherwise, Mr. Sakaza, over to you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. Am I audible? Good morning, Honorable Chair. Am I audible?
You are audible.
Loud and clear. Oh, thank you very much. Let me switch off the video then. Good morning to all the members. Today, Chair, we have the following members. We've got Honorable Chair Dunjwa, Honorable Ndabe, Honorable Zuma, Honorable Bagram, Honorable Kado, Honorable Ligov, Honorable Mkonto. Honorable Makubele Chair did mention that she will be traveling, but if she gets home on time, she will join later. Also, Honorable Zuma said she's also traveling, but she's already joined. She may be on and off. Chair, from the staff, we've got Portia, we've got myself, we've got Portia, Tebuho Mkwena, Mr. Ngobo Sbongseni, Mr. Lukani, the communications officer. We also have Makamu from PMG. Thank you for now, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sakaza. Can we then get the person who is who's going to introduce the guest, the staff I hear the minister is here, but obviously there is an acting DG. We were told that the DG is off sick. We've got an acting DG. Can you please introduce your team of the two entities that are here?
Good morning, honorable members and chairperson and the minister and the deputy minister. I've asked Ntatem Khalipi, who is a board member of the CCMA, to join me. The Productivity SA reports to me. From the department, there are a number of people that you may be familiar with, Mr. Tandwa Baba in the ministry, Uma Tapelo, Mrs. Matapelo Matabuche, Mr. Lumkam Tide, the minister's advisor, Ms. Onke Mjo. And yeah, I think those are the people from the department, and the entities. I know Untate Cameroon and Adem Tiba have also brought their team. They will introduce them when they present. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I think, can we then get a political overview from the minister? If he is in a position to do that.
Yes. Yes.
Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Chairperson.
You may switch it off if you have
honorable member.
I'm saying you may switch off your video if
Okay.
it's okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Do you hear me now clearly?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Honorable Chair and the members of the committee, because I'm not sure if the Deputy Minister is here, but he's busy in the program with the President, because we are in Potchefstroom in the Imbizo of the President. The acting DG, Mr. Murudoba, and the senior management of the department, the senior executives of the CCMA and Productivity South Africa, and their managers who are present here. Ladies and gentlemen, Chairperson, despite conflicting schedules like the presidential imbizo currently in progress, in recognition of the authority of the role that is played by parliamentary in this committee in the oversight of the executive and the bureaucracy, which is holding us. It's holding us all to account. We opted to attend this committee prior to attending the imbizo. Therefore, Chairperson, I'm also registering an apology that I will not be able to attend the whole session, but our team will remain. Today, we're here to present the annual report for the financial year 22-23 for the CCMA and Productivity South Africa. On Wednesday, we briefed the Portfolio Committee on the Department of Employment and Labour's annual report and supported employment enterprises, and of course, and that of Netleg. As it is practice, I will give the overview remarks, and the officials who are led by the acting DG, the director of the CCMA, and the CEO of the Productivity South Africa will provide the detailed presentations. The presentations of these annual reports, the person and the honorable members, take place after last week's AG has met with the Portfolio Committee and shared the information in relation to the audit outcomes of the Dell family. The AG indicated to members of, which said members of the Dell family were audited, and those whose auditing processes, or there are those whose auditing processes were still ending, are still outstanding or ongoing. AGSA also indicated those with appreciated audit opinions, like the clean audit opinion received by the CCMA, and the unqualified auditor with the findings, like the network and performance improvements and those regressing. The CCMA received a clean audit for the 2022-23 financial year. This is happening for 2 years in a row, the issue of the CCMA. What this means is that when the CCMA did achieve this in 2021-22 financial year, it was not a fluke. CCMA is an example of the state entity with performance management and governance. It's very exemplary. We take lessons then from them and share experiences. And we congratulate the governance and the leadership of the CCMA. And most important, the team, CCMA at large. It is the commitment of the audit stories, and well done, Team CCMA. Productivity South Africa audit outcomes remained the same as the previous year. Unqualified audit with findings due to material errors in their financial statements. And the AG raised concerns regarding quality of the annual financial statements and expenditure management to avoid irregular expenditure. We therefore encourage Productivity South Africa to raise the standard of their financial reporting and implement the AGSA recommendations for remedial actions. The members may have read in the media about the resignations of the Director General. I thought that I will brief the committee first instead of discussing this with the media, which had several questions about it. As this meeting is accessible to the public, let me officially confirm to the public and the media that on the afternoon of the 18th of October, 2023, I received the correspondence from the DG, Tobile Lamati, who tendered his intention to resign as of the 30th November 2023. In terms of the Public Service Act and related regulations regarding the appointment of the Director General, submitted a letter to the President, and I've acknowledged receipt of that letter from the DG and informed him of the process to unfold. We will continue to update you, Chairperson, and the committee, as it is a norm with the progress whenever necessary. Therefore, Chairperson, allow me to conclude by just saying we are processing the topical matters in the most careful and meticulous manner. The other issue is, Chairperson, is the Tuja Holdings Agreement, Dell Tuja Holdings Agreement. Let me once again take the committee confidence into the things that are in the public domain, over and above the previous report, and update you regarding the implementation of the recommendations arising from that particular Dell Tuja Holdings Agreement. The status quo on the issues relating to the on the Tuja agreement, that status quo remains, as reported last time by the Minister on Wednesday, and myself before that. The forensic report regarding the agreement signed by the department, the UIF and Tuja Holding is still being processed appropriately, and we have implemented some of its recommendations as requested. Just to emphasize on some of the progression, when the Deputy Minister was with the Portfolio Committee the day before yesterday, she did inform the meeting that Productivity SA Chairperson has been relieved of his duties. He has been replaced by Professor Annalyn Chetty, who will be acting until the new chairperson is appointed. Professor Chetty, I guess, is in the meeting today, if I'm not mistaken. We have scheduled meetings with the boards of the UIF to discuss the reports with them and actions thereof. We are planning to apply for legality, clarity of this Tuja agreement in court, and if so, set it aside. Chairperson, through you, allow me to hand over to the acting DG and the officials who will dive into the details of the CCMA and Productivity South Africa annual report. Thank you again, Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Minister. We will. May I then hand over to the acting DG in allowing the first presentation, which will be CCMA. Over to you, Mr. Moratoba, or the Executive Director from the CCMA.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. I think we can go straight to the Director, CCMA. Thank you very much.
Thank you, members. I will attempt to share the slides. For presentation. Just a moment. I take it that permission is given. There we go. All right. Let me try to share again. Can everyone see my slides? I'm on the top. Can you see my slides?
I can see the slides on my side. I don't know other honorable members.
Chairperson, can you see the slides?
Yes, I can see.
Oh, thanks,
yes,
Minister.
it's visible.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Minister and the Deputy Minister, the Acting DG, members of the Portfolio Committee, the Chairperson, the fellow entities and my team. I will be brief in the presentation, as the Minister has said, and helpfully, I think, what Minister has covered us. I just supplement what the Minister has presented. I will go straight to slide 17 as a start in a manner that will assist in expediting. The 2022-2023 performance of the CCMA has slightly regressed. I'm saying regressed in the sense that in the previous financial year, we achieved 100%. From 100%, if there's any movement, it can only be maintaining 100 or downwards because it can't go beyond. So we missed just 2 targets. Out of the 31, we achieved 29, which took us to 94%. The idea was purely on debates and standards relating to admission of certain evidence, which largely included the public. But what I wish to confirm on behalf of the governing board of the CCMA is that even if these 2 targets were not achieved, but it was done. It was done. It's just the admissibility of evidence that led to 94. So for us, in our perspective, Chairperson and Minister, while from governance point of view, it's 94%, but for us, it is still 100%, because I understand what happened in terms of the evidence, but I can assure you that the events took place and we're happy with that. This is just a schematic presentation of the performance of the CCMA over the years, which will then include the 2022-2023, which is sitting at 94%. The next slide, which is slide 22, the minister has confirmed this. We quite happy that we managed to maintain our performance in as far as audit outcomes are concerned, with no findings. We're sitting at unqualified audit opinion, literally meaning a clean audit for 2022-2023. And we're quite happy with that. And I've already spoken to the aspects relating to performance. In the year ended, the financial year in question, this is just a presentation of also a 5-year case referral comparison, which will then include also 2022 and 2023, as you can see there, Chairperson. I will not go into the detail about the total number of cases received. You will see that at 184,075 for the year under review. I then proceed to slide 25. This is just a presentation which you will see in the annual report that shows the sector-based referrals, the top 8 referrals, which shows you the safety and security being, especially the private security, which is 18%. It just as to ameliorate that. When a sector where there's a bargaining council collapses, we take over those cases to make sure that the users don't suffer. And that's what happened in this regard, which skewed our numbers in as far as referrals are concerned. It's not a bad thing because the case is still being done. It's just that it puts more strain on the resources of the CCMA to do those cases, especially from financial side of things, because you need commissioners to do so. But we tried our best to do that. Then, Chairperson, I'll proceed to, the rest is the detail of what I just presented. For the sake of time, I'm not taking you through the detail there. What is important on slide 30, you will recall that there are certain programs that we do, including presidential programs, which also includes the TERS. You know that we have an adjudication committee that makes those decisions. You will see we've done our best there. If you look at the total number of applications, 1,406 at the cost of 47.8 million, where the line is. So we're quite happy with that. And we did an important project also, what we call the Youth Labour Think Tank, which is quite important in terms of governmental program. And we managed to do that as well. And then what follows here, if members wish, is just to see the global view of what we did in the year under review. It is represented in the dashboard. And of interest, if you look on the top right, the online referrals has taken off quite interestingly high. Just to confirm, so that members don't feel concerned that there are certain of our vulnerable sectors that are not taken care of. We are running a hybrid system. While we do online, we still do physical cases, and users still come physically to our offices to do cases. It will be like that for quite some time, Chairperson, because that's the nature of our society. So we're not going to shut down and just do online matters. We will continue to do so. Our settlement rate is sitting at 76% on the left-hand side and the green side. And then finally, you will also note that the total number of awards that we have rendered, we're sitting at 99.9% on the versus the cases that we've received. Taking into account those that have been withdrawn, settled, and all of that in that 76%. It's just a matter of balancing numbers. Or maybe just finally, Chairperson, job saving, we're sitting at 51%. It's always been a matter of interest to members of parliament. And we've made interventions on big cases with a 67% success rate. Then I will proceed to slide 34 on the financial side. Maybe, Chairperson, with your permission, I just want to make one statement here on the financial side of things, and then CFO will talk to you on 2 or 3 slides on our financial performance ending 31st March 2023. You would note that just out of comfort, that we remain a liquid entity. If you take our assets and our liabilities, that still remains healthy. Just one aspect I need to comment on. CFO will talk to the other detail. It is on slide 30, or with slide 38. She'll talk to that. I want to talk to slide 45. This is a very important slide. This is my last presentation slide. Chairperson, Minister is very serious about, and also this committee, about ensuring that we understand and apply PFMA and all other related legislations that comes with it. And that includes, I think, in terms of Section 57, actually, of the PFMA, where we have a responsibility to make sure that we prevent irregular expenditure and we prevent fruitless and wasteful expenditure. And if you take into account that we've got about 897 members of staff, we have 137 full-time commissioners, 198 CMOs, is not on the slides. The idea why I'm mentioning that, and including 500 part-time commissioners, is that as an entity with that statutory obligation and with our zeal to maintain good governance, it's very difficult to maintain that statutory obligation of ensuring there's no fruitless and irregular expenditure. And the fact that in the previous year we managed to do well in that regard, one of the bigger challenges was for us to continue to do so. Members will note that CCMA has established a loss committee, a loss and control committee. This is a committee that is chaired by an independent chairperson who deals with all matters we identify of irregular and fruitless expenditure. We have that committee that deals with that. We take action against people who commit irregular and fruitless expenditure. As you will see, one case, 43,000, one on fruitless, and 36 prior to 31st of March. We do take action in that. And they deal with cases, we refer them. One of the key aspects that makes us to achieve that is having controls in place and have a very effective internal audit. Respect it and give it its independence and resource it and don't interfere with it and let it do its job. It's able to produce the results that you see. Everyone accounts to that committee. And because of that, with the total number of persons involved who make decisions, that you can't find people who do things like, as we speak now, somebody could be transacting without us knowing. But our controls and the functions and functionaries that we've created managed to give us the results that when we got audited, we had zero irregular expenditure and we had zero fruitless as a time of audit. And I think to my team, and the governing body, in particular the procurement committee that is established and all of that, I think for me, it is a good performance. I wish that in future, even if we're not around, that such culture and standards shall be maintained for us to be able to continue to heed the call, not of statute only, but the minister's call that let us behave in a manner that is regular and be fruitful in our performance, because it does taint performance if you do well in terms of your strategy, but you have high irregular expenditure and all of that. So I'm quite happy for the team, for the CCMA, that we've managed to have that and also to have single digits audit finding. I think we have 7, if not less, which are non-material. And because those controls are working, because we've got a very good governing body, very strong, and a very strong audit and risk committee, which is inclusive of governance and risk as well, and audit. So it has managed to bring these results. I spend a bit of time on this part because it's the difficult part to do, because we will not be able to achieve a clean audit without having this in order. So this has been quite a pillar in our achievement, but behind that, it's the staff that understands what needs to be done, and they did that, and I commend them for that on behalf of the governing body. And for this annual report, I'm presenting the to you on behalf of the institution. That's how we got to that. There's other things that we need to deal with, obviously. We do our best to do so. That's my presentation, Chairperson. I think I did that in less than 10 minutes or so. Can I ask, with your permission, that the CFO of the CCMA to just make a commentary on finances, because we've managed that well too, which is a very difficult thing to do given the size of our institution and the number of cases that we have to deal with. If it's okay with you, Chairperson Kidiboni, you can just comment on aspects of finance that we spoke, if the Chairperson allows. Thank you.
No, it's fine.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, Kidiboni.
Thank you very much, Director. And good morning to the Honorable Chairperson, the members, and to the Minister and the colleagues at large. Director, if we can just be on slide 35, that summarizes our...
Sorry, ma'am. May we see your face, please?
Apologies for that, Chair.
No, it's fine. You may then switch off your video if it's not going to. Okay.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chairperson. On slide 35, Chairperson and honorable members, what you can see here, we are basically talking to the financial health of the organization. When we closed the financial year, in our bank account, we had 140 million that we had for the organization. And this 140 million shows that we have managed to manage our finances properly. And also, it also confirms that we will be able to manage and pay our liabilities in the foreseeable future, preferably looking at a period of 12 months. So you can also see that all our liquidity and cash cover ratios clearly indicate that our financial health is quite positive and very good and stable in the near future. If you can also go to slide 44, Director, which talks to our utilization of the budget that was approved for the financial year. We have utilized 98% of our budget. We were only left with 2%, which is a variance of about 27 million, which we didn't use for the financial year. And there's quite a lot of number of reasons why the 27 million was not used, but it's not because we did not do our work. Some of the reasons it's completely out of our control, such as procurement processes that could not be finalized in time for us to actually utilize all this funding. So what this means is in all the funding that we have, 98% of it was fully utilized. And with the results that we have from the AG, it says that this 98% was utilized within the financial prescripts that we have for the organization. I think in summary, Chairperson, that's our brief results. I'll leave it there because the director has already dealt with the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Thank you very much.
Chairperson, thank you, Kidiboni. Chairperson, as promised, that's our brief presentation. We didn't give the full detail. The rest is contained in the slides. If we could answer that, thank you very much.
No, thank you, Executive Director. Can we now get the presentation from Productivity SA? Productivity SA.
Good morning.
Morning.
I extend my warm greetings to the Minister of Department of Employment and Labour, as well as the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Employment and Labour, Ms. Lindelwa Dunjwa. My name is Dr. Annalene Petty, not Professor. I'd love to be Professor one day, but I'm not there yet. I would like to also extend my greetings to all the esteemed colleagues of this committee. It is a great honor this morning and a privilege to stand before you to be able to, as the acting chairperson of the Board of Productivity SA, and to lead our delegation to present to you our annual report of 2022-2023. Chairperson, I'd like to commence with a quote: "In the face of economic challenges, the pursuit of productivity is not just an option, it's the very essence of progress and prosperity." And I think these words resonate very deeply with our purpose here today, as well as our presentation. Before I delve into the report, please allow me to introduce to you key members of our delegation. I have with me Mr. Paul Slack, who is the chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee. We have Mr. Mutinya Matiba, who is the CEO of Productivity SA and doesn't need any introduction to you, as well as our CFO, who is relatively new, Ms. Ukushle Sidumani. Chairperson, Productivity SA is, as you well know, is the entity of the Department of Employment and Labour and is entrusted with a pivotal and economic and social mandate. Our task is to promote employment growth and productivity, a duty that aligns seamlessly with the broader mission of DEL. Chairperson, I don't want to go into too much details or long introductory notes, but just to say that at Productivity SA, we take a holistic approach to address productivity at three distinct levels: the macro, the national, and the meso or sectoral level, as well as the micro and enterprise level. This approach is designed to create an environment where entrepreneurship can thrive and sustainable enterprises can bring value to our nation. Chairperson, as Minister has already outlined, we cannot ignore the challenges before us. Our country is confronted with pressing social, political, and economic issues, indicated by 8 critical socio-economic and labor market indicators, which, as you know, includes GDP growth, employment growth, productivity growth, global competitiveness, business efficiency, income growth, poverty, inequality, and informality. The red flags they raise are undeniable, and they compel us to act with urgency. Chairperson, just to drive home the importance of our mission, let me share another quote to say that the productivity of a work group seems to depend on how the group members see their own goals in relation to the goals of the organization. Chairperson, we want to assure you that at Productivity SA, despite the controversies in the media recently, we have a strong governance oversight over the organization, and we will ensure that this organization remains unscathed by the possible or reputational damage. We also want to say that at Productivity SA, we're moving from an activities-based program to an outcome-driven program to look at more the impact that we're making to the economy and changing the lives of ordinary South Africans as opposed to just driving events and activities. Chairperson, I'd like to hand over to the CEO of Productivity SA to take you through the detailed presentation of the annual report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chetty. And yeah, we welcome you in this committee.
Thank you.
Let me say that on behalf of the members of the committee. CEO, over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, and thanks to the Acting Chairperson of Productivity South Africa for the introductory remarks. Good morning to members of the committee, the Minister, and the leadership of the department and the fellow entity, the CCMA. Chair, I will also not delve into the detail in terms of the presentation, but just highlight a few things. If the host could grant us sharing powers, because I'm trying to share this side and I'm finding it difficult.
I don't know whether it's from my side. You are not audible. Can members indicate if it's only me that is having that change?
You are not alone, Chair.
None of us can hear.
You are correct, Chair. We can only see the slides, but we can't hear him.
Maybe that's better.
Can the committee members hear me now?
We can hear you. Mr.
Thank you, Chair.
Bagram, you are out of order. Continue, CEO.
Thank you, Chair. I will move to slide number 10, where I specifically focus on our overall performance. You can see that Productivity South Africa had 12 planned key performance indicators. Out of that, we achieved 11 and failed to achieve 1, and our performance is sitting at 92%. If you look at that performance per strategic objective, you can see that as it relates in particular to strategic objectives 1, 2, and 3, as well as 5.
Sorry to disturb you. Your cursor is not, if I'm correct, is not moving. We are only on that slide but the one that you are talking to is not on the screen. So
Chair? Can I also make a request that when he's presenting, can he please switch off the video so that we're able to concentrate on the slides? Thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Sakaza, can you assist? I must understand that you're a co-host. Because he's talking on slide 10, and slide 10 is not on the screen. Sakaza, are you still in the meeting?
Yes, Chair, but since he's already sharing, I'm unable to get to his computer, so he must move the slides, Chair.
Okay, whilst we're still struggling with that, can we, because documents were circulated to us, can we go to our documents, honorable members? Sorry for that. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Chair, are we on slide 11? Is it showing on your side?
It is showing.
Thank you. As I indicated, we had 5 strategic objectives, and strategic objective 1, 2, 3, and 5 were achieved. It's only in strategic objectives that relates to our research, innovation, and statistics where we achieved 1 indicator out of 2. Moving to the next slide, Chair, it's just a reflection of how we were performing quarter on quarter. And you can see that our performance was hovering around 75% up to the end of the financial year in Q4, where we achieved the 92%, and overall performance therefore resulted in a 92% performance. We also want to share with the committee our performance over the medium-term strategic framework. You can see that we started the medium-term strategic framework in terms of 2019-20 at 100%, and our performance dropped in the subsequent years, 2020-21, 2021-22, and predominantly this was because the business turnaround and recovery program was suspended, and in 2021-22 we were beginning to pick up in terms of capacity of the program, and I think we are now getting back on track, because by the end of the financial year that program has performed much better, exceeding the targets that we had. In this slide, the coming 3 slides, Chair, I just want to emphasize that as the acting chairperson has indicated, one of the strategic objectives of Productivity South Africa is to ensure that we transform the labor market through our interventions as we support enterprises, particularly the small and medium-sized enterprises, with a focus on both formal as well as informal businesses. It is for that reason that we share with the committee that when it comes to our competitiveness improvement services, we're able to achieve 100% in that area, to the extent that we're able to support over 1,500 SMMEs through our training and competitiveness improvement initiatives. I must also indicate that 100 of those companies that we supported are through the Workplace Challenge program, and those companies are employing over 3,000 people. And that's where we're talking about job preservation. Also to indicate that over 2,000 entrepreneurs, workers, and managers have been capacitated, as I indicated, targeting those enterprises in the formal and informal sector. And you can see that in terms of the demographics, over 600 young people were trained, over 700 women were trained, and over 1,700 enterprises whereby we intervened belonged to Black entrepreneurs. And we also show you the spread in terms of how we supported the enterprises across the 9 provinces. You will realize that KZN, Western Cape, and Gauteng are showing larger numbers for the reasons that this is where we have physical presence. I must indicate that it becomes a little bit challenging for us to reach out to the other provinces because of capacity constraints, but we do our best to ensure that we service all provinces equitably. In this slide, we continue sharing with the committee the work that we do in terms of the Workplace Challenge Program. I must indicate, Chair, that this is our flagship program that we are implementing in collaboration with the DTIC. In effect, it is funded by the DTIC by about 10 million. And as indicated, we supported over 100 enterprises. 25% of those are youth-owned, 51 are women-owned, and 8% Black-owned. In this slide, we're just sharing with the committee the work that we have done in terms of the business turnaround and recovery program. That's where we support enterprises that are facing economic distress in order to save jobs. You can see that during the year under review, we supported 67 companies, and were able to there, through our interventions, save over 4,000 jobs. We also, as we are trying to build capacity within the enterprises in order for them to be able to have people who would still remain in the company to continue the work that we have done. We have established and trained Future Forum members, over 700 of those being trained. Now, as I indicated when I started, we have seen a drastic improvement in terms of the performance of this program, moving from the program being suspended in the 2000 year, and now we have this type of results. We're still showing you some indications in terms of our interventions per province. Again, you can see that there's a lot of, it shows that picture in terms of Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the Western Cape. That, as it may be, as I indicated, we still strive to ensure that we support all the provinces accordingly. Chair, I will then move to slide 20, just to share with the committee also that we have, over the 2022-23 financial year, managed to establish relationships, in particular with international institutions. The first one being JICA, Japan International Agency, whereby we are implementing and participating in the African Kaizen Initiative. And we are also together with them in the DTIC implementing the Quality and Productivity Improvement Project. These projects, together with the productivity ecosystems for decent work, are doing two things for us as an entity. At one level, they are enhancing our financial capability, but at the second level, we're able to mobilize resources within the country, both in terms of organized business, organized labor, as well as other key departments in the economic cluster to collaborate in implementing programs like Kaizen in the country. Structures have been established to implement these projects, and I must also indicate that we have been successful in motivating for adoption of the BRICS-wide productivity ecosystems for decent work. So there are two levels of the productivity ecosystems. The one is the one that we are implementing in partnership with the ILO as Productivity South Africa, and the second is the one that has been adopted for implementation within the BRICS countries. The next two slides, Chair, are just summarizing the key achievements. I will not talk to those, but then with your permission, hand over to the Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Oguhle Sudumani, to deal with the financial information as well as the governance, including audit issues. Over to you, CFO.
Thank you, CEO. Chairperson, good morning. The key achievements for Productivity SA in terms of financial performance for the year that ended March 2023, the entity maintained an unqualified audit opinion for the financial year. We saw an increase in the grant funding by 11%. The total grant funding was around 96 million, and we saw an increase to 106 million for the financial year 2023. In effort to eliminate and curb the challenge with the grant funding shortfall, Productivity SA's business model also focuses on generating additional income through consulting services. You'll note from the annual report that our amount of about 3.26 million was generated from external consulting additional services. The total assets exceeded total liabilities for the year with the ratio of 1:1. Productivity SA remained a going concern, as was endorsed by the auditors at the end of the financial year, with a recorded accumulated surplus of just over 4.4 million rand. There was a significant reduction in the irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. There was a reduction from about 1.9 million in the prior financial year to 16,000 in the financial year 2023. There was also a significant decrease in external audit findings of about 38%, with a remaining 8 number of total findings in the current financial year from 13 in the prior financial year. Chairperson, I'm going to move to the next slide, which just details the financial performance for the year. Unfortunately, Productivity SA did report an operating deficit of 10 million in the financial year ended 2023, mainly as a result of underperformance in the income from additional services, which management is prioritizing with the special projects the CEO has mentioned. I'm going to move over to slide 28, Chair, which is a summary of the audit findings. As I mentioned, we have a reduction in audit findings. We have a total of 8 audit findings, with 2 that were unresolved and the rest were in progress. Each finding has a management action plan. Together with the combined assurance providers, we are monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of the management action plans and the implementation dates to ensure the further reduction of the audit findings to nil. Thank you, Chair. I'm going to end there. Thank you very much.
Chair, with that said, I think just in conclusion, I must indicate that the financial challenges of Productivity South Africa persist, have not been resolved. We are in consultation with the department in order to ensure that we're able to have sufficient resources to deal with the productivity and competitive challenges across the country. That said, ends our presentation, Chair. Thank you to the committee for the audience.
No, thank you very much to both entities and its leadership. I will then hand over, I will then now allow members to ask questions. Over to honorable members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Michael Bagram.
Michael Carter.
Honorable Bagram, Honorable Carter, and Mkondo, with the order of your hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. May I go ahead?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I hope the minister's still in the meeting. I'm not sure if he had to go yet, but I have a couple of issues that the minister spoke about. You will recall on Wednesday at our meeting, we were told that there was an acting DG who couldn't be present because the acting DG was at another meeting. So in other words, the minister and probably the staff of the department and probably yourself knew that in fact the DG had already resigned. And somehow everyone forgot to tell the committee. I'm not sure if any members of the committee were informed separately, but we weren't told. We were kept in the dark like mushrooms, and it's quite disgusting. The other thing about this resignation, I'd like to see...
Sorry,
I'm asking questions, Madam Chair.
Okay, I will deal with you.
If you can let me finish with that, yeah, thanks. I'd obviously like to see the letter of resignation. I think that the minister owes this to the committee as to the reasons given in the letter of resignation is important. And also, Minister, when one resigns, you give 30 days notice. You don't have to accept the resignation as immediate, and I presume you'll have a disciplinary inquiry beforehand because of this money that went missing and then came back and was supposed to be paid over. So we expect to see some sort of disciplinary inquiry. The minister also said in the last meeting that there was some litigation that was going on, and that's why he couldn't speak about. We'd like to know which litigation, who's being sued, is government being sued, or is the department being sued? What's the litigation all about? We'd like to actually see that. The reality is that once we've got the letter, obviously a whole lot of new questions might flow from that. And obviously, I presume the minister will come and explain to us what is being done about that Productivity SA chairperson who has been removed. And we'd like to see that letter as well, removing that chairperson. So it's important for us to see. Just with regard to the CCMA, well, this, and I need to obviously applaud Director Cameron Moriani, who has in fact been blessed by his staff, who have performed extraordinarily well, despite the fact that their budget keeps getting reduced. So I'd like to then announce that he is the jewel in the crown of the department. Nothing else is shining at all. The crown hardly exists, but the jewel in the crown is the CCMA. So well done. with regard to the 76% settlement rate, you have saved the taxpayer, the government, everyone, an enormous amount of money, because of the thousands of disputes, almost 80% get settled. I know I'm one of the users, and it's absolutely fantastic that they're able to save government that money. And hopefully, and I hope they're blessed with even better results in the future. What we are going to see more of, and maybe Ms. Mariani, or Commissioner Mariani, would tell us, we're going to see many more strikes coming up. We spoke at the last meeting about the ICT strike. Well, I don't know if anyone was actually aware, but we're about to have one, and which will create enormous problems for the Department of Employment and Labour. And we're hoping that the CCMA moves in now to try and help that. They've always been absolutely fantastic in strike management. So much strength to their arm, because that's going to be a big issue. And especially now, as the economy's failing, government's failing, we're hoping that those strikes we can manage properly. Just another issue with regard to the CCMA. Hopefully, I know Mr. Commissioner Mariani has been talking about this before, about the abuse of the CCMA process. Clearly, there's some cases that are absolutely abusive, in the sense that there's no case, and we need some sort of legislation in the future where we can have some sort of oversight by the CCMA to advise people that there is no case and that they shouldn't be coming. Many people think that the CCMA is actually an ATM where they can, they can just go down there and they'll manage to get somehow money for it. And then the CFO, well done. You've managed the finance really well, especially with your budget being dropped. And I think that's fantastic. And with that small amount of money, we're managing to somehow have peace management properly in place in the country. So I want to thank the CFO for managing that finance, and well done again, blessed with great staff. An issue that I've been talking about for years now, and that is charging for their services. I know the CCMA does, but I'm sure there's more and more businesses that can be charged for services. They'd love it, for training, for seminars, webinars, booklets. The CCMA has got the capability, they've got the commissioners, they've got the part-time commissioners, they've written some brilliant stuff, and they should be charging. They could be putting money back into the budget and actually helping out other entities, like possibly Productivity SA, who don't have the money. And then just to go to Productivity SA, again, the same results with the Auditor General. I mean, it's disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful what's going on there. And also, I'd like to know more about their old chairperson. What actually happened? Has he resigned? Did he send in a resignation? Was he removed? Was there a letter sent removing him? We in the committee are completely in the dark, and the man seems to have gone off into the ether somewhere, and we've heard nothing about it. As a portfolio committee, Madam Chair, we should be knowing about a chairperson of an entity of the department, but somehow we treat it like mushrooms. We kept in the dark and fed the bull. So please, Productivity SA, share that with us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Kado.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, I'd also like to underscore the dissatisfaction with the way in which this committee has been treated with regards to being briefed about the UIF Tuja deal. I do think that we've been completely sidelined and marginalized and deprived of information. I don't think the minister's feedback this morning was particularly useful. I too would like to know exactly the sequence of events that led to the resignation of the DG and why we haven't been briefed along the way about exactly what's been going on in the department. Allied to that, my understanding from the minister's comments this morning were that some of the recommendations of that forensic report had already been implemented. Well, that being the case, what are they? I think we should be told. There's also been an increasing clamor, as you will have seen, from various sectors, including organized business, for the UIF to be placed under administration, given the dramatic ongoings and revelations surrounding the fund, and I would like to know, if the Minister is still on the call, what is his response to those calls for the UIF to be placed under administration. And then on Productivity SA, on slide 22, there's a reference to Productivity SA playing a leading role in the BRRRR employment working group. I would like to know, what is that working group? What are its objectives? When was it set up? What has it achieved in the period of its existence? Just a bit more briefing on that would be much appreciated. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning to you, Chair, honorable members, the Minister, the Deputy Minister, the Acting DG, and his team. Chair, I think 2 weeks ago, I said there are signs that, and that is my observation, even today, I want to repeat it. There are signs that the department is collapsing, and that fact was disputed. I think today, no one is going to dispute that, because first of all, that's my observation. And now the trail of events after I have said that is just saying maybe what I was saying is true. Chair, I don't understand why we are misled in terms of the roll call and apologies, because it was presented that the DG is off sick. And that is not okay, Chair, to deliberately mislead us as members of this committee, because it is out there that the DG has resigned. And we are asked questions, we are in the dark, we can't even respond because we don't know anything. So I think, Chair, in the future, it has to be corrected. It started there. That's where I was like not comfortable even to listen to that, because people have been asking us why the DG has resigned. And on that note, Chair, as the minister was uploading the CCMA for the clean audit, I thought he will be able to tell us as to exactly what is going to happen to those entities that are not performing as expected. Their performance is not up to standard. Unfortunately, he chose just to upload the CCMA and don't say anything about the other entities as to, in the near future, what is it that his office is going to do. Chair, I will then go to the presentations. Chair, with the CCMA, maybe I have to join colleagues and the minister to applaud them for the good work that they continue doing. But then, if, Chair, in 2021-22 financial year, immediately after COVID, they were able to perform 100%. And now, way after COVID, 2022-23, they perform only 94%. I think I'm just puzzled there as to what exactly led to that. Maybe we're expecting more better results from them, because they have shown that they can be able to do it. Another thing, Chair, that I would like to know from them is the closing 140 million closing amount in their account. Was that under performance has to do with the 94 performance instead of 100 has to do with that? Or where do they collect? Is this their revenue collection? Because we always fight for them that their allocation from the department must be raised. But now they are coming and they're telling us that they had, in their closing account, they had 140 million. I'm like, exactly what is going on here? If that can be explained to us, Chair, so that we are able to understand. And I am asking myself, Chair, as to what happens to the retail industry, because we are seeing a lot of strikes when it comes to the retail industry. But according to the percentages that we are seeing here, I don't see the CCMA talking more about as to how do they intervene, or do they have powers to intervene, and so forth. If that also can be explained to me. The productivity SA. I will talk about their training. This Chair, to me, seems like it is something meant to benefit the citizens of this country. But I have seen the department and other entities like UIF, CCMA, the department itself, they have improved in as far as publicizing their community activities are concerned. But I don't remember seeing these trainings, maybe on social media, any communication. Is even worse, Chair, if it happens to an entity that is not that much well known to our people. Are there any plans to improve in as far as that is concerned, Chair? And then the second one will be the issue of special projects. I hope, Chair, as we requested Productivity SA to benchmark with international entities like themselves, these special projects that they are having internationally, I hope they will result in them learning from other countries and be able to improve South Africa's productivity levels. Thanks, Chair. That will be my contribution.
Thank you, Honorable Nonsale. Honorable Nonsale.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Honorable Chair. Good morning, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, and Honorable members. And thank you, Honorable Chair. Maybe first just to apologize for the minutes I was out because I had a challenge with my gadget. But then the second point, Chair, I'm a bit amazed by the allegations that are made on this meeting, on this platform. Maybe even observers, some of them may have a recollection in that the Honorable Minister, I'm not even betting for him. I'm just talking facts. Honorable Minister took the Portfolio Committee into confidence on what is going on, including the intention to. That was said in the meeting which the honorable members were present. And in the last meeting which we had, and yet he complains as though he was part of that meeting. In this manner, where we make generalized statements, worst of it all, about meetings that were not present in. So the point, I think, Honorable Chair, we need at least to treat with each other with respect in these meetings. More so when such conduct even demonstrated itself during the sitting of the assembly yesterday, where people would stand up and make unsubstantiated allegations. I think we need to at least to call to order this kind of behavior, because without any doubt, if Honorable Bikram was present, he would have understood that at the time when Honorable Minister made an apology on behalf of the DG, he did not say that he doesn't know where the DG is. He did explain that the DG has submitted a leave note, he's off sick. And who else then can stand up and say the minister misled the committee? Worst of it all, when you were not present in the meeting, Chair, we ask you to use your powers and call on Honorable, because he makes serious allegations against people who were in the meeting, and yet he was not there. So I just wanted to make that intervention on these 2 points. And that if there are issues that need to be raised with Minister, with regard to the resignation, nobody would have a problem with that, but honorable members cannot preface their statements with serious allegations that are unsubstantiated. Worst of it all, when they were not present in the meeting. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Mdabe. Thank you, Honorable Mdabe.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to you and honorable members. Chairperson, let me start off with an appreciation for the good work done by the CCMA. Well done, Director and the team, and progress on the work of the Productivity SA. It's quite noticeable that you did get an unqualified audit. However, you need to improve on the findings, as well as putting measures to make sure that your controls are tightened up so that there is effectiveness and efficiency in the work that you do. I want to echo the same sentiments that are raised by Honorable Nonsele. You see, Chair, there is a concerted effort by the DA in particular that they want to undermine the African women, Black in particular. We have been noticing this as well in this committee, the manner in which the DA is treating you as chairperson. They seem to be having an understanding that women, Black in particular, don't have authority and don't have capacity to lead this country in whatever form. And I agree with Honorable Nonsele that I think you, Chair, you need to take up this matter with the relevant authorities in Parliament. We cannot, at this day and age, allow the Democratic Alliance to undermine our African and Black women in particular. In fact, it amounts to abuse the men and women are dealing with their issues. But Chair, the opposition was not in the meeting last week, on Wednesday. Those who are then saying that we were misled, they are lying themselves here because they don't know what happened at that meeting. But Minister today, just now, before we started, when he does his overview, he said he received the resignation letter on the 18th. And when is the 18th? Was yesterday. Today is the 19th. How can he then be lying? How can he be misleading the committee? How could he be withholding information from the committee? some people are not telling the truth unless they are playing politics where it shouldn't. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. We will then allow the two entities to respond on questions and comments that have been made, and the rest will then be attended to by the chairperson. Please, whoever wants to start to respond on questions in terms of your presentation. Over to you.
Chairperson,
CCMA.
CCMA, may I start to respond?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Let me start with the Honorable Bagram's first, because that was the first one that came. There's a linkage in one question he raised with Honorable Mkonto's questions as well. Firstly, we just globally, on behalf of the governing body and my team, we welcome and appreciate the recognition and the congratulatory statements from members of parliament. Thank you very much for that. On the specific questions on the 76% settlement, thank you very much, that's correct. On do we expect more strikes in the future? Yes, we do. The trend has been like that for years. And the laws that were made, including Section 150 of the Labour Relations Act, permits us to make interventions where we need to. For example, that we have now seriously intervened in the Tshwane matter. The mayor and everybody else, we are meeting next week. I think it is on Tuesday, if not Wednesday. It's quite a complex matter, but it is because of that legal permission that we have to intervene in that. We see that the CETA strike is close to resolution based on the PSA submission in terms of the difference in percentages. And we've done well. If you look at our presentation, you will see that in terms of interventions of this nature, where there are strikes and the ones we expect in the future, we've done well in that regard. Some we wish we could have resolved quicker. Sometimes the ones that delays, like the Tshwane one, is because there are other things that crop up, not just wage disputes. There's court actions involved. There's issues of violence that happens. There's issues of all kinds of things. But we will do our best, and we do expect that in future. That's correct. On the abuse of CCMA by parties who knowingly refer, and it's quite difficult. There's a paper which I'm trying to find, which was drafted by one of the leading jurists on systems we need to put in place to sift cases which need not proceed because they have no prospects. We do not have the resources and the instruments at this stage to prevent continuation post-referral. Usually at the best time to do that, it is at the opening of the case itself, because sometimes when a case appears hopeless at referral, when you hear evidence, it changes character. Sometimes a bad case becomes a good case, sometimes a good case becomes a bad case. If you will recall, Honorable Bagram, as a practitioner, there's a judgment done by the Constitutional Court of Kusa versus Stauyen, where the court cautioned about matters that are taking too long and expensive, and actually the court said that sometimes, and most of the time, the right time to see what the content and character of the case is when evidence is in. But I think, while noting the concord there, I think there is a different approach, if resources were permitting, where we can engage deeper, especially on easier cases, like domestic sector, construction. For some of those cases, sometimes when they're referred, they're not complex. Somebody walks away, not paid a minimum wage, and dismissed because of 1, 2, 3. You are able to make an assessment. That's why we have the pre-con system that we use for matters that are non-complex, where we use telephone to engage parties. And we are able to settle those cases, and because at times what plays a role is exactly what you raised, the issue of prospects. And prospects has to do with whether there is a case to answer or not. I think if we can add more resource in that and spend a bit of time on it, there are a number of cases we can avoid in it running full steam, because sometimes it does put a strain on the system if cases that should not proceed are proceeding, because we have to allocate a commissioner, allocate a hearing room, and the resources are used, but do it with caution so that cases that may change due to evidence is not avoided. But I think it is doable. That's why I also took interest in this article I read as part of my studies, where I saw that there was a concern raised that we have to find a way to sift. It may have a direct bearing on the caseload that we have and the resources. So that is well noted. As soon as I have had the opportunity to read on that, I should be able to present a proposal if the need arises for legislative reform in order to accommodate that process. Thanks for that point. Should we be charging for services? We are already doing that, but at a limited scale. I want to link this point, Honorable Bagram, if you so permit, to Honorable Mkonto's question on the surplus. Why do we have a surplus that is presented if we are complaining about money? Chairperson, with the team, we do intend to make an approach that we have some kind of a special session. We'll start with the department because that's our parent, and make a firm proposal here. Because what causes a surplus? Part of the problem is legislative. Secondly, it's timing, right? Let me be more practical in it, because that I would have covered Honorable Mkonto's question, which deals with Mkonto's question. Number one, when we receive grant from our parent, those funds are used over a period, but we invest them. You will see in our income statements, if you look at income that we receive, part of it comes from interest made or accumulated from invested funds, which is the grant we get, right? So that money gets invested. Secondly, as part of what Honorable Bagram is talking about, we do render services, and we do also make a bit of money out of that, where we do training, we do all the things which are permitted in terms of Section 115, which gives us a right to at least raise some money in order to sustain. The legislative purpose of creating that permission is to do exactly what Honorable Bagram is referring to, on us being able to use the resources we have, the expertise that we have, in order to sustain ourselves. What we have not done is to aggressively use it. Why? It's because it is exactly what Honorable Mkonto is talking about. You will only know fully what you have accumulated over a period, how much you have raised, and the interest that you have accumulated at the end of the financial year, right? We also have, a procurement plan which is approved, which include big transactions such as leases. You will recall, Honorable Mkonto, that at the beginning of 2023, there was a constitutional court judgment that halted procurement, right? And it included halting big projects, which include leases, amongst others, and other smaller procurements, such as our intention to procure, systems, our ICT systems, our call center that we had planned about 5 million and above. So because of the halting of that process, we could not procure what we budgeted for and what is sitting in our interest earned from the money invested. So when you do an evaluation of that, you do that at 31st March, which is the end of the financial year. So also remember that the obligations we incur and the costs that we incur, it's not done in advance. It is done in arrears, meaning that commissioners do cases and they claim later. We occupy buildings, we pay later. So when that was halted, that we could not procure with money budgeted for, and given the timing of that, because if you halt procurement in January, February, your financial year is ending in March, a month later. Everything else you had planned to procure, you can't procure. So consequently, you are going to build a surplus because you could not use the money because of the instruction. We did not intend to violate that instruction. We understood the Constitutional Court judgment when Treasury gave us that instruction. But even without that, what we need to discuss with Treasury, and which is what we intend to do, because we do intend to package exactly what Honorable Bagrim is talking about, the training and everything else for us to raise money in order to assist our government in terms of performing what you need to perform. But the problem with that is that the more you accumulate, you will find that we have targets that run up to the end of the financial year. So the only time you will know also how much you have raised and what you have made is post the financial year. But your reporting reports up to what happens up to the 31st of March. So then you will see the surplus that you see. It is not because of the okay.
So what are you doing? So what are you doing?
There's a sound there. Yeah. Okay. So it's not because we performed less. It's not because of the 94% performance. No, it's not that at all. If you look at the target, it's only 2 targets we've missed. And if you look at the reasons of the targets, it's because the evidence, and I did present it, that the work that ought to be done and money expended on those targets was done. It was just that when the audit was auditing us, because of the evidence, the attendance register, because we've got a diverse membership we serve. Others don't sign forms, they sign them wrongly, they do all kinds of things. And then the AG says that is not acceptable. But it does not mean we did not do the job. The job was done, the money was spent, state's money was spent on that, right? So it's just a question of timing difference, interest accumulation, income generated, Concord judgment that blocked us from procuring. Because in reality, if as at the end of 31st of March, we do not ask for the rollover of the surplus, which the Treasury approved because we must explain, which we did, exactly what I'm saying now. It means all those obligations which were incurred just before the end of the financial year cannot be paid. Leases, commissioners' claims, everything else. What we need Treasury to accommodate in the PFMA, which is I'm talking about the portfolio committee part, is that money we make due to our services that we render, when we apply for a retention of that surplus, it must be understood that it's money made through rendering of service, but the basis of which is using the budget that is allocated to us. So it is practically impossible to be given 1 billion with all those factors and spend 1 billion as at the end of 31st March and nothing going beyond that. It will never happen in future, practically speaking, because of the timing difference. Because even if those that do work on the 31st of March, the last day of the financial year, you can't pay them that day. You pay them a month later. That includes other services also, leases, which are multi-million rand deals. So if we ended that and spend it like that, we're going to end up overspending. So practically speaking, that's why we ended up in that. I just hope that it does satisfy that, and I understand your concern with state money. 94%, does it mean you didn't use it? No, it doesn't mean that. It's just that in public, we never go into this detail because we're talking an annual performance. It will be contained in the annual report. It will show exactly what I'm talking. I'm sure with the Concord judgment that halted procurement, you're also aware of that. Why the drop in performance? The performance, I think in my submission and on I did explain this, that it's not the drop in performance. It's the admissibility of the evidence of what we performed. Actually, we performed 100%. That was my submission, that we performed 100%. We technically did not drop our performance. If the evidence that I'm talking about was accepted, we'll be sitting at 100. So it's not a material difference, but on the face of it, yes, it does show that we performed less than 100%, which was given to us. What happened to the retail industry? I wasn't too sure what the question means, but I think the answer lies in section 150 interventions that we make. You see, one thing that we hope to do, if we have resources, is to do sector and industry intervention where we see a rise in disputes. For example, if you look at the security industry, I did mention that the collapse of the bargaining councils caused the increase of the caseload that you see. But if you look at the other aspects, like you correctly raised on the sector of retail, we could do our own investigation, research on why there's such a rise in cases. You see, one of the things that requires funding, which we don't have, is dispute prevention and management, which we have a function there, but we're not able to do it because we don't have resources to do so. Because we do have the skills and the programs on how to prevent disputes, which includes the retail industry, in the mining, for example. We know some of these things, what the problems are, but we just don't have the muscle to do it. If we had a choice, we would do the more proactive and prevention aspect in retail and mining, for example, including the security. Then we can answer and resolve exactly the legitimate and proper concern that you have. But because of that shortage, we just have to grin and bear it as it is, because we can only react on dispute referred to us, and we can also intervene where we have to in terms of section 150. But it's not for lack of knowledge or lack of interest on our part. We are aware, but it's just the muscle that we lack for us to do so. And I think that covers the questions under Honorable Mkonto, and it also covers Honorable Bagram's question, Chairperson. If there's any that I've missed, I will gladly respond.
Okay. Thank you, Executive Director. Productivity SA.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think the first question and comment came from Honorable Bahrain. Chair, I'm not going to respond on the issue about the chairperson. Safe to say that the minister has addressed that, and the chairperson has been removed to the extent that the acting chairperson, Dr. Chetty, has been appointed. On the issue of audit outcomes, it cannot be right that Productivity South Africa had an adverse audit outcome when we are actually showing that in terms of the audit, in slide 25, we obtained an unqualified audit outcome with irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure reduced from 1.9 million to 16,346 rand. Over and above that, the audit findings reduced from 13 to 8. And that is the confirmation as the per the auditors. With regard to the issue that is raised by Honorable Kado, which we covered both in slide 22 and 24, in particular where he wants to know what work are we doing within the BRRRR employment working group. I must emphasize that the BRRRR working group on employment has identified productivity improvement as a cardinal and key focus area in the BRRRR countries. Productivity SA, number one, was responsible for developing South Africa's concept node in collaboration with the International Labour Organization. In that, the issue of productivity improvement targeting small and medium-sized enterprises was emphasized with the objective that if we improve productivity growth, that would also reduce decent work deficits. That is why BRRRR countries adopted the BRRRR-wide productivity ecosystems for decent work. The second key area in terms of our advice was the issue of measurement and evaluation of productivity, both at enterprise level, at a sector level, as well as at a macro level. So we believe that our participation in the BRRRR employment working group would, to a large extent, assist South Africa in improving the productivity and competitiveness of the economy and that of enterprises, in particular, small enterprises that are operating in the informal economy, after having realized that the majority of enterprises in the BRRRR countries are in the informal economy, with South Africa showing that over 65% of small and medium-sized enterprises are operating in the informal economy. And I think this issue raised by Honorable Kado augurs well with the issue raised by Honorable Mkonto with regard to the special projects, where she is advising that we should take note of these developments so that we use this environment for benchmarking, and that with that we'll be able to improve the productivity and competitiveness of South Africa. We take the advice to heart, Honorable Mkonto, with a clear understanding that there are actually 3 projects that we are participating in. The one is productivity ecosystems for decent work, where the focus is definitely on, in particular, the transitioning of small and medium-sized enterprises in the informal sector into the formal sector. We will focus on that. Secondly, the issue of measurement and evaluation of productivity is also central to this. Third, the other projects that we're involved with is the one I refer to as the quality and productivity improvement, which we are implementing in partnership with the DTIC, being supported by Japan. And this is a focused intervention in the respective sectors that is in line with the sector master plans, and we're playing a critical role in that. We will pick up on the lessons learned out of those projects. One benefit that may accrue from the Africa Kaizen initiative, which is also implemented by JICA and NEPAD, is that we have been identified for piloting a productivity center of excellence in the 2024-25 financial year. We believe that these benefits would assist South Africa. You're correct, Honorable Mkonto, that we are not as much known as we should be countrywide, and to a large extent it's because of our makeup, in that we, because of financial challenges, we are not able to be everywhere, particularly outside Gauteng, Western Cape, as well as KZN. But we do have public awareness campaigns in a minimum of one in each of the provinces, whereby we also use those opportunities for companies in which we have intervened to showcase the benefits or the value of productivity. And we've got very good stories about companies that are successful because of our interventions. I must indicate to the committee that one other campaign, which we will be holding on the 27th of October, is what we refer to as the annual National Productivity Awards. And again, that's where companies that we have assisted are able to talk about the value of productivity. It's true that very little is done in relation to the landscape. If you have over 2 million small and medium-sized enterprises, and you can only intervene in 4,000 of those per annum, it's very little, and the committee has been made aware about this, and that is why you have always recommended that we should be given sufficient resources so that we can assist the economy. The capability is there. It's only about our ability to reach all provinces equitably. I think other comments like Honorable Mdabe were actually comments, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I'm not quite sure these two hands are a legacy hand, that of Mr. Bagram and Honorable Nonsel.
Sorry, it's a legacy hand. Yeah, sorry.
And Honorable Nonsel, I would assume that maybe also is a legacy hand. In the absence of any other hands, I just want to request this from the Productivity SA. I think it's slide number 15. I would appreciate within 7 days if you can send us that information in terms of training, in which are those sectors, and that breakdown must be in terms of appreciate if it's in terms of gender, age, race, and class. I think that would be very important, so that as we will be talking, we really are able to be pointed, because this thing of being general at times that it doesn't assist anybody, and in fact it creates a confusion. So we must be able to point here, even if people are saying things that are not true, we are able to say this is what these entities have done. On CCMA, I would also request executive director that maybe it's an information that we have never been, I don't want to say never been interested on it, but maybe it's an information that it slipped our minds as members of parliament. Can you please furnish us with the sectors that ignores rewards? I'm sorry, awards that have been, sorry for that, awards that have been given to workers, whether in public or in private. Because we must also be aware of, because we may sit here and think that workers are the areas where workers are not waging a struggle, and in fact workers are waging a struggle which the employers are really either discriminating or undermining them. So I would appreciate if we can finish us with that, because we know, I'll talk about myself, I know that there will be those areas where awards are being ignored or undermined to frustrate workers. When one is given a responsibility to lead a particular area, there are two things in my view which are very important. Is that one, a person is expected to protect the integrity of an organization or an institution that has given him or her that responsibility, and secondly, protect his or her integrity. It's the second time. And that, as the office of the chair, in other areas where the office of the chair is being undermined. I take it further, because I don't think it may be directed to me, and I want to say it here, and I won't be afraid to say it anywhere in this country. And I'm going to say it. One, there is nothing, absolutely nothing in the face of the Democratic Alliance that a Black person can do something right. To say in this meeting, but let me remind you, honorable members, DGs are not employed by Parliament. DGs are not employed by Parliament. Some of the chairpersons of the institutions are not put there by Parliament. We know which are those areas where Parliament will then be expected to give a note on each chairperson. To say here, some of members knew, and the minister is telling lies about the resignation of the DG. The resignation of the DG, for your own information, the office of the chair saw it on News 24 yesterday, and I took it upon myself to check with the minister. So if you are told by those people that are telling you of something that is not there, please don't come and mess up the program of this committee. Secondly, if you know that there is money in terms of the TUJA, put it according to rules, substantiate what you are raising here as the Democratic Alliance, because to the understanding of the office of the chair is that we were told by the minister in this committee that that 5 billion was halted. No money has been spent. Whoever is telling you, please don't come and want us to lead on rumors, because if you want us to lead on rumors, we're just going to be like a pig that is then going to be in the mud, and we also go into that mud. We are not going to do that. Please, good people, please don't wage a strike that is not good to assist this country. That we have been quiet as women, Black in particular. Don't think that just because you are white and males, you have got the authority to come and say whatever you want to say, and people must run around. Don't dare me. Nor any other person who has been given a responsibility. I've taken an offense on what has been said here today. When I wanted to call you to order, you said, Mr. Pegram, no, you are asking questions. That I kept quiet. That doesn't mean that I'm afraid of you. It was only because I wanted to respect the decorum and the people that are in this meeting. And that must not give you an impression that you can just come and say whatever you want to say. It's unfortunate. Even if it's towards the end of the term, I'm challenging you. What you said here, in terms of the minister, in terms of the monies that you said, monies have been spent, of understanding 5 billion, it's still in the department. Follow the correct procedures. Please. There was a meeting here when a report of the department was reduced to a report that is written by a standard 5 pupil. Yeah. And I took an offense. I have been a member of parliament from 2009. I've never been subjected to undermined, a committee being undermined and being bullied and being ridiculed by people who think that they've got the authority over everybody. Please, our patience as the African National Congress and as people that are deployed here, and as female in particular, don't dare us. We'll meet next week when we are to come back and debate on the committee. The areas that we are requesting from productivity SA and the information that I've requested, that can we be furnished with. I would appreciate that if we can get that by either, if possible, Tuesday, just be circulated to members as we usually do that. We will appreciate that, and our meeting stand adjourned until next week. Thank you very
Chair,
much.
my hand is up.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Your chairing of
Thank
this
you,
committee
Chair.
is graceful.
She unfortunately ran away.
They didn't run away.